JFD, just fair and direct.
Okay, hello and good morning everyone. Welcome to JFD Traders Espresso with me, Darius Anucauskas. Today's the 20th of July 2021. So yep, welcome everyone. Welcome to this Tuesday's morning session where we're going to have a very quick look at the markets, a few of the charts, the usual stuff. But before we do that, as always, let's quickly have a read through our risk disclaimer. So, the content we produce does not constitute investment advice or investment recommendation, should not be considered as such, and does not in any way constitute an invitation to acquire any financial instrument or product. As always, I'll give you a few seconds to read the rest, and we can continue. Okay, so now then, also just before we jump into the charts, as always, quick mentioning of our JFD YouTube channel, to which you can always subscribe to in order not to miss any of our upcoming videos, and of course our JFD Bank website, and specifically our JFD research page, which we also update on a daily basis. So yep, check us out here on jfdbank.com and click on the research tab right there on the top. So now then, jumping into the charts, the first one I want to pick up here is Nikkei 225, and as we can see, the index drifted lower. Yesterday, the markets in the U.S. and European markets turned south due to increased concerns over Corona again, and that the recovery might not be as planned as initially planned. But the markets took turn south. The equity markets took turn south. So and you can see that here Nikkei also kind of drifted lower, and it came to this area, it broke this area, the one that I talked about previously, the lowest point of May near the 27,385, and it also dropped below it. Now, the index, of course, is already closed, and as you can see, it just closed fractionally above that barrier. Now, again, what I said to you previously, that I would prefer to see a stronger move below this, and I would like to see a more, say, more confident drop in a close below this area. But at the moment, I would say that this just kind of provided support. This area around this level provided support. However, still, don't get me wrong, the picture that we're seeing here right now is a little bit more towards the bearish side rather than the bullish side. And for now, let's still be very careful here. If we do see a further drop below this hurdle, then yes, we will aim for lower levels. But if by any chance this reverses here back to the upside, and for example, we do have a nice opening here, and let's say tomorrow, a little bit higher than today's close, then we might get ourselves a little island reversal here. So this pattern here could be seen as an island reversal. However, again, certain confirmations still would be needed. At the moment, we saw the so-called runaway gaps here, and yep, it was kind of drifting lower with gaps here to the downside. But again, like I said, if we open tomorrow somewhere around here, and maybe closer to this 200-day EMA, then we'll create a possible island reversal, and potentially we could see a push higher here. However, as I mentioned before, I would like to see maybe a push above the 28,118 territory here first. But looking at this picture, we might even actually drop this a little bit lower here. So somewhere above this 27,800 zone, that's from where we could start looking at some higher levels maybe again. But again, don't get me wrong, I mean, still there are a lot of ifs here. So let's go slowly, step by step. For now, what I'm looking at here is, of course, this 27,385 territory. If we drift further below it, then of course, yes, certainly lower levels could be met, where our next target could be that psychological 27,000 territory, or even we could aim for that lowest, the low of the 22nd of December, near the 26,361 zone. The German index DAX, so yep, heavy decline here. But as you can see, we found support near this medium-term upside support line taken from the low of the, actually more of a long-term now. Yep, so long-term upside support line taken from the low of the 19th of March of 2020. So the index, yes, drifted lower initially, just broke the upside line, but then kind of managed to rebound and stay and close the day near the 100-day EMA here, shown as the green line. So in a way, the idea, the one that I talked about yesterday and last week as well, kind of worked out. So that's a great achievement. What I was saying to you then was that if we drop below the 15,456 territory, I'll aim then for the 15,310 zone here, but if that gets cleared, further declines could be possible towards the where we could see a move towards this upside support line. And then, yep, we will take it from there, guys. Looking at the cash index right now, we'll see that the price is trading at around 15,185 zone, so above yesterday's close and above this, still above this upside line. So again, let's see how the index will trade today in relation to this upside line. But if it continues to hold, we might see maybe a drift up to the upside here a little bit. However, guys, maybe I'm going to be getting ahead of myself here a little bit, but if, let's say, in the following days we'll have, let's say today, tomorrow, and Thursday, we'll have the daily candles just kind of drifting alongside this upside line, maybe this could be forming a potential bearish flag here. So we have the pole, but again, you know, so one of the options that could happen. However, again, it's not, you know, let's wait until something like this happens, and then yeah, we'll take it from there. But let's say looking at the upside, what I would prefer here to see is a push back above the 15,456 territory right here, back above this level. Yep, and then yep, we could consider maybe a move to the upside. The S&P 500 also drifted lower, tested this short-term upside support line taken from the low of the 19th of May of this year, and it found support near it, but of course initially it did break slightly below it, but then it rebounded, and now it's kind of it ended the day near this this 4,257 territory, which is marked by the near the high of the 15th of June, near the high of the 22nd and 23rd of June as well. So this area kind of provided good support. Looking at the cash index, we'll see that the price is kind of rebounding right now, and we're seeing that the index continues to sit above this upside line. However, the same story as with the German index. If we eventually do break this upside line, then certainly yes, lower levels could be met. If you're a little bit on the cautious side, you could keep an eye on the low of yesterday near the 4,233 territory. A break below it would confirm a forthcoming lower low. Now, German, the DXY and the dollar index, so pushed higher. Yesterday, if you remember, I talked about this idea of maybe seeing this one as a potential bearish 3 method, but as you can see, it's not really working out. So, I mean, have to admit that. But nevertheless, it was a good idea. However, don't get me wrong, the day has just started, so if by any chance this somehow reverses sharply to the downside, now then yes, then I will consider this to be a bearish 3 method. But if it stays, if the price stays above this 92.85 territory, then well, I'll continue targeting the upside, and my next target will be the highest point of March near the 93.44 zone right here. For the downside, I need to see a drop below the 92 territory right here, and then yes, lower levels could be met. Now jumping into gold very quickly, so there we go. Gold yesterday did drift lower. However, as you can see, it came back above this downside line, the one that I talked about with you yesterday, and yep, we saw the commodity staying above this downside line, and now it kind of increases the chances for a possible move like this, that one that I draw in here, and it increases the chances for a possible rebound, which could lead to maybe a test of this this downside resistance line taken from the high of the 1st of June. Now, will that happen? Well, we'll just have to wait and see. But for now, the commodity might continue, for example, sliding alongside this downside line on top of it, and then eventually, if the bulls see a good opportunity to step in, then yep, we might see a nice push higher. So again, there's a lot of ifs here as well. If, for example, if the dollar index somehow pushes sharply to the upside, then maybe yep, gold could actually drift back below all of its EMAs here, and we could consider maybe a bit of a downside. However, at the moment, guys, it's a very interesting moment here. So yes, I'm keeping an eye on this idea, maybe to see a bit of a push higher, but again, it is not, let's say, I would say not a guaranteed, nothing is guaranteed, but like I said, this is one of the ideas, guys, to keep an eye on, and let's see if that's going to play out. There we go, simple as that. Silver continues to drop, and yep, it remained below this 208 EMA here. Of course, it dropped initially below the 25.71 territory, and now all this kind of doesn't paint a very positive picture here on the silver. And in a way, if we take everything as it is right now, yes, our next target could be around here near the 24.69 level marked by the low of the 13th of April. However, as I mentioned before yesterday to you guys, that let's see if we're not going to get something like we had here at the end of March, where on the 30th of March we had a nice good drop below this 208 EMA. We stayed below it, but then the next day it reversed back to the upside here, and yep, started climbing higher. So again, let's be cautious of that. But at this point in time, as I said, at this point in time, I am aiming for this 24.69 level. Now, oil certainly took a dive yesterday, and yep, all the corona fears again, and the fears of maybe seeing governments shutting down or going into lockdowns again. So all that kind of played a role in WTI's in oil's kind of drift lower here yesterday. So basically, from the technical side, everything kind of worked out nicely. So I talked about this yesterday, and basically I said that if we drop below the 70.43 territory, my next target is the upside support line taken from the low, the 5th of April, and boom, we got that. We managed to achieve that. So now the big question here is, can we see a further decline? Well, so far, I mean, of course, the main focus will be on this upside line together with the 108 EMA here shown as the green line. But also, if you want to aim for lower levels, well, keep your eyes on yesterday's low near the 65.60, and a nice good break below that would confirm a forthcoming lower low, and potentially more sellers could join in. However, and we need the confirmation break below this upside line first. So at the moment, that's why it's going to be a bit of an interesting one. And for now, I would say for now I'll take a bit of a maybe careful approach. I'm not really bullish here, but although yes, the upside line continues to hold, but for me to, let's say, examine the upside again, well, I mean, at least a push back somewhere above this territory between the 70.43 and 70.79 levels would be needed, guys. So yeah, that's the kind of game plan. Bitcoin, very quickly on this one, so drifted below the psychological 30,000 mark, and this is what I talked about yesterday. I said to you guys that if we drop below this 30,000 and 31,075 territory, then yep, my next targets are going to be these two: the low of the 26th of June near the 30,206, or the lowest point of June near the 29,247. And as you can see, we are now approaching that area. I'm not going to drag this one further south. I'm going I wanna see how it's gonna perform near these areas. However, of course, if it breaks this level, if it breaks the lowest point of June, then this will confirm a forthcoming lower low, potentially attracting more sellers into the game, guys. So, and then we'll start looking for some other potential support areas, one of which could be this one, the 25,859, and then we'll take it from there. Now, jumping into Ripple, also a similar story here. However, we're keeping an eye on this hurdle, the lowest point of June as well, the 0.50 at 0.5125, and if that gets cleared, then certainly further declines are possible. Where my next target could be this one, the 0.3616, and that's marked by the lowest point of February of this year, guys. So keep that in mind. Look how far we have traveled. I mean, back in April here, we were kind of trading near that psychological 2 level, and now we're back to kind of levels where we were, well, I mean, in the beginning of this year. And well, let's see how all this is going to play out. But for now, I'm leaning a little bit more towards the downside. And now, quickly on a few pairs, AUDUSD continues to drift lower, so this idea worked out. I've talked about AUDUSD last week, and I said to you that a drop below the 0.7410 territory right here could open the door towards lower levels. We could aim for that 0.7373 territory initially, or the 0.7342 level, and that's marked by the low of the 1st of December of 2020. As you can see, we continue to drift further south, and this kind of now asks us to find the next potential area of support, and one of them could be here near the 0.7255 level. And yeah, so for now, like I said, the aim, of course, becomes this one, the 0.7255. Will we reach that? I would say that we could if we will continue to trade below this 0.7342 zone. If we climb back above it, maybe we could see a bit of a corrective move here to the upside, because don't forget that we are now trading below some of these tentative downside lines, of course, which we will keep a close eye on. But again, although they are tentative, still they're something to keep an eye on, basically. So because eventually, if it let's say reverses back to the upside and tests one of these lines, then and gets a hold up near those, and then yep, this could put a bit more significance on that line. So so that's why for now, I mean, yes, I'm leaning more towards the downside, but only as long as the pair will remain below the 0.7342 zone. Quickly on NZDCHF. Now this one, I haven't looked at this one for quite a while, but as you can see here by the shifted arrows, but basically I would say at the moment we are at a very interesting spot. We are near the current lowest point of July, near the 0.6335 zone, and of course we need a confirmation break below that level in order to aim for further declines. And at the moment, guys, yes, we are approaching this area as we speak, as I speak, and yep, let's see if we can actually drift further south. Now we do have a bunch of obstacles here on the way lower. Let me just put this one on the chart. There we go. So one of which is the 0.6305 territory, or we could see maybe a further decline towards the 0.6234 level. As you can see, this is where my arrow kind of ends, but again, we need a confirmation break first here below the 0.6335 before we could consider that move to the downside. Now, for the upside, of course, a break of the this downside line is needed, and also a push above the 0.6462 territory would be required as well. Now, jumping into USDCAD, and of course, if oil took a dive, then USDCAD took a push higher due to, of course, the Canadian dollar being the kind of directly linked to the price of oil, and whenever oil doesn't perform well, I mean, Canadian dollar takes a hit. And here we saw the pair now drifting higher. I mean, to be honest, even from the technical side here, it was about time for it to move to the upside, because since March of 2020, as you can see, we have been drifting lower. Then we broke that downside line, the one that I just removed, and now we're pushing higher. We're pushing north. Can we continue moving higher? Well, again, for now, I would say yes. I'll aim for the upside, for further upside, but I'll be very careful. For now, I'm going to just aim for this area, for the 1.2881 zone, marked by the highest point of January, if I'm not mistaken. Yep, that's correct. And by the way, that's the current highest point of this year as well. There we go. So the 1.2881 is the current highest point of this year. And if we test that area, but let's say it struggles to push higher straight away, then we might see a bit of a corrective move here to the downside, guys. And yep, then we would take it from there, of course. But for now, looking at this picture, yep, everything's looking quite positive for this pair. So let's see if we can reach the highest point, the current highest point of this year. GBPUSD, quick update. I'm not going to spend too much time on this one, but basically I'm just going to say that everything was kind of worked out according to the plan discussed yesterday in my video, and basically we dropped below this upside line. We fell below this hurdle here, the one that I talked about, the 1.3732, and this confirmed the forthcoming lower low. We tested the 200-day EMA, but my target here was somewhere around this 1.3567 level. The day has just started, and we are trading below the 200-day EMA. So basically, a bit of negativity here right now in this pair. So let's see if we can actually end up testing this 1.3567 level, marked by the lowest point of February, by the way, and then we'll take it from there. JPY very quickly as well, drifting lower. Yeah, last week I talked about this pair. I talked about this 151.32 territory. I told you to keep an eye on this one, even though we did also have an obstacle here, the 150.73. But I said that if we even cleared that one, then, well, I mean, further declines could be possible. And look at this one, everything kind of worked out according to the plan. We did drift below this 151.32. We tested this 150.73. We broke it. This confirmed another forthcoming lower low. And now, to be honest, we're getting closer to that 200-day EMA. To be honest, I mean, it seems that everything's leaning towards a possible move towards that EMA. Again, we'll be very careful here for now. And let's not forget that still this move lower could be seen as a temporary correction. So yeah, we are still trading above this long-term upside support line taken from the low of the 18th of March. And in a way, if we continue to drift lower and then we test this upside line, but if it provides support, then, well, I mean, maybe another rebound here, a slight rebound could be possible. So that's the kind of game plan here for now on this pair. So let's see, of course, if this is going to work out or not. But I would say for now I'm leaning a little bit more towards the downside, as long as the pair remains below the 100-day EMA here, shown as the green line. Now, jumping into a few other pairs here, Euro NOK. So of course the Norwegian krone got a hit yesterday due to, of course, falling oil, and yep, we managed to reach one of the interesting targets here, the high. I think it is the highest point as well. Yep, we reached the highest point of this year, and well, the previous already, I would say, because yesterday we overcame that, and we reached that level, and we're currently still sitting above it. So this means that there is a greater chance that we could see a further move higher here. We could aim for that highest point, the high of the 7th of December here, or in other words, the highest point of December of 2020 then. But of course, don't get me wrong, let's always keep an element of the doubt in here, and I would say that for the upside, as long as it stays above this steep upside, steep short-term tentative upside support line taken from the low of the 6th of July, then yes, we could continue targeting the upside. If it drops lower and breaks this upside line, then and if it also falls somewhere below this 10.4448 territory marked by the high of the 8th of July, then we could consider maybe a bit of a correction here to the downs. And the reason why I'm saying correction, because we're still trading above some of these other upside lines. For example, this one taken from the low of the 29th of April, yep, then we could maybe see a bit of a larger correction to the downside. However, at the moment guys, everything's kind of still looking quite positive here for this pair, so let's see how far we can travel. Quick update also on EURCAD, also something that got affected by the weakening oil here, and yep, this pair exploded nicely here to the upside. It traveled higher. When it managed to reach this 1.51 territory, I think. Yep, there we go. So perfect hit of that level, and then we declined. We corrected back down. We're still sitting above the 200-day EMA, and in a way, everything's kind of leaning a little bit more towards the upside. And we're also trading now above this short-term tentative upside line taken from the low of the 5th of July. Now, in a way, what I can say here is that if we start falling somewhere back below this high of the 8th of July near the 1.4915 level, then maybe a bit of a further correction here to the downside could be possible. Quick update on EURJPY as well before I run out of time, guys. EURJPY also did everything according to plan. We dropped below this highlighted territory. Last week I talked about this one. We fell below the 129.57 level here as well. So, and now we've tested the 200-day EMA, where the pair found a bit of refuge here. So for now it's resting here, but if it drops below this 200-day EMA and below the below yesterday's low, not here, but right here, the 128.89 zone. If it drops below this, my next target is the low of the 24th of March here, near the 128.29. And finally, EURUSD, so drifted to the downside, but it still remains in between these two levels that I spoke about previously. So, yep, it is closer now to this area here, to this key support zone near the 1.1772. Yesterday we had a break below it, but as you can see, the bulls pushed the pair higher, and if they manage to get another attempt and drop below this hurdle and stay below this hurdle, now that's where it could become a little bit more interesting for a few more sellers, guys. So yep, as I've mentioned before, in the beginning of this week, well, yesterday actually, and at the end of last week, I said that I'm keeping an eye on these two levels for now, and I need to see a clear breakthrough one of those before we could consider the next short-term directional move, guys. So thank you very much for watching and listening, guys. I'll have to wrap it up here, and so yep, I really appreciate your time. So if you want to catch me tomorrow morning, as always, at my Traders Espresso, that's 6 o'clock GMT time. For now, have a wonderful trading day, stay safe, have your stop losses in place, and everything will be fine. So thank you very much, and bye-bye.